So I just got out of the private room that I reserved in the library because earlier, when I was in the private room, in the private study room that I reserved, an old Japanese guy just entered my room to rant and point fingers at me. I was super surprised because, like, maybe I was doing something wrong or whatever his reasons are, whatever I did something wrong. I was just super shocked that he could enter my private room, um, like just like that. So like if I did something wrong, why didn't he ask the staff to like tell me that I'm doing anything wrong here, that I'm doing something wrong here, and that I should go away or leave or something like that? He's a guy, he just entered my study room and he pointed fingers at me. So I'm just super shocked because this is not the first time an old person harassed me here in Japan. So like I'm obviously traumatized because the first time this thing happened, there was an old lady who just physically assaulted me in a public bathhouse where there were other people inside the bathhouse, but no one helped me. So like the thing is, these old people they like harassing foreigners in public places because they know that they cannot be kicked out. So if you're a foreigner in Japan, just be wary of this. You might experience a lot of harassment like this when you get here. So in this library that I always go to, I always book a private study room. It's a private room. It's basically a one-person cubicle that a user can use to study. I also see other Japanese, especially the old people, taking their calls inside. It's not fully, what do you call that, soundproof, but it's fair enough as long as you don't shout. Actually, it's highly encouraged that if you like I read some signs here that if you have to talk, it's okay to talk. Just don't shout so that you don't annoy other people. But yeah, so that's why I reserved the study room because I wanted to read my books out loud. And yeah, it also helps me to like read out loud, so I have my own place. And in fact, I also see other Japanese, like the other Japanese, use the private study room like to talk, to take their calls, or something like that. So I've been going here for the past 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. And just today, that I was super surprised. I was just minding my own business as always, as usual. And then a guy like next to my room who also reserved his own room just entered my own study room. So that was surprising to me because, oh, wait a minute. If there's anything wrong that I'm doing, why didn't he ask the staff to like mediate between us or something like that? So I was just surprised because why does it have to be him? Why isn't it the staff asking me instead of him? Because I think it would have been so much better, less terrifying if it was a library staff talking to me, because they have the authority to speak to me. But with him, I, I don't know, like, who is he? So when he entered my room, he was just ranting. I didn't understand because it was Japanese and he was speaking really fast. So I didn't understand any of it. And he was pointing his finger to me. So I'm like, oh, whoa, this sounds like, this looks like harassment to me. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I feel harassed right now, so I'm just gonna leave. So I ran away from that and I hid to the bathroom for a good hour. And I just cried because it triggered trauma to me. Yeah, I hate to say this, but an old man who is like older than my grandfather harassing me felt like that old woman, the grandmother who hurt me. So it felt like that. It triggered that trauma. I'm super scared. And luckily, like I posted on social media, I posted on a Facebook group among like foreigner women in Japan, and they helped me because I wanted to get my things. I just wanted to leave so that I could get my things, but I'm just super scared. I don't want to see that guy anymore. I don't want to encounter him. So I asked for help from the Facebook group, and yeah, they got me the translation that I needed. The staff were very accommodating. They tried to help me. They assisted me so that I could get my stuff. And yeah, so like according to the staff, the guy seemed annoyed at me because I was talking out loud in the study room. But like the thing is, why can everyone else talk out loud in the study room but not me? Why can they take calls in the study room? Why can they read out loud in the study room but I can't? Why? Is it because I'm foreigner? Because that's the only difference. The Japanese can do. This is not an isolated case where an old man or an old person attacked me in a public place, in a public space. And when I posted in the Facebook group for women living in Japan, I was kind of surprised to note that unfortunately these old people, they usually attack in the most public places because they know that they cannot be kicked out because they're old. So that's why they have the audacity to actually hurt others, especially foreigners, because most of them are unfortunately highly xenophobic. They hate foreigners. And I'm unfortunately at the bottom of that, um, at the bottom of that pyramid, because I'm a Filipino, I'm brown, I'm a brown Asian, so a lot of hate are, yeah, filmed against me. Yeah, so the thing is, believe it or not, even among the women, even among the girls here in Japan, I'm smaller than everyone. I'm smaller than most, if not everyone. So like, I was just so surprised. I'm in this private cubicle that I reserved for myself, that I should use for myself. Um, when this man entered the room, he didn't even just stay outdoors. He entered the room and then he started like he'd step closer to me. He drew his hand and he pointed his fingers at me, and I'm like, oh my god, I was in shock when that happened, because it was a very similar scenario with an old woman, a grandmother, who grabbed my arms and she hit me in a public place, in a public bathhouse. So that was shocking to me because there are other people present, but no one helped, no one stepped in. So, like earlier, I just ran away. I sped so fast to the bathroom to hide because I was in shock. I'm like, what did I do wrong this time? But yeah, I mean, reading the comments at the Facebook group amongst women in Japanese living in Japan, I found out that unfortunately it doesn't even have to be a reason. Most of the time, it's mostly xenophobia. When you're the smaller person, when you're always the smaller person, like I know some people would tell me, but those are just words. Words didn't hurt you. But yeah, but like when you're a smaller person, when you're always the smaller person between two people, and when your attacker draws closer to you, that threatens the smaller person. I'm always small. I'm always smaller than everyone. Whether it be a man or whether it be a woman, or needless to say, whether it's an old man or old woman, it doesn't even matter. Whatever your age is, I'm even smaller than third graders here. That's how small I am. When I go to like public bathhouses, the shopkeepers would always ask me what grade I am because I am smaller than third graders. I teach them Some teachers would ask me if I'm a new student in a third grade class. That's how small I am here. I am small. So like, the thing is, yeah, that's my point. When someone steps closer to me, I feel threatened. That's threatening because that's violation of my personal space. So like, even though those are just words, those are threatening. His actions were threatening because he moved closer to me and he started pointing his fingers like this towards me. So what's next? So if I didn't run, if I didn't go away, he could have hurt me, you know? The same way the old woman, like the old woman who attacked me before in a public bathhouse, the same way that at first she's just started yelling and I didn't understand. And I'm like, I don't understand. I said to her in Japanese, I don't understand because I don't really understand what she's talking about. And she started grabbing me because I was just so shocked that someone would yell at me in a public place and someone older, way older than me. The thing is, I have so much respect for old people. I love my grandparents so much. I love my grandmother so much. I always see my grandparents to them. I always remember my grandmother. You know, the first time I went to Japan, my grandmother sent me a pocket money in Japan. I'll never forget that. And you know, I always think of her when I'm here. So whenever I see old people, I always think of my grandparents, my grandmother. So I don't have the heart to hurt them back, even if these old geezers hurt me physically or like they shout at me. I don't wanna hurt them back because I always think of my grandparents. But you know, guys, like looking at the comments among like from foreign women living in Japan, they told me you should probably start learning martial arts now because you need them. If you're small, you need martial arts. You need to defend them yourself, even among these old people. You have to fight back because there's no one who's gonna protect you, unfortunately.